I always loved carnivals. The vibrant lights, the sugary scent of cotton candy, and the thrill of the rides pulled me in every summer. This year was no different, or so I thought. The moment I stepped through the gates, I sensed something was off. The colors seemed duller, the music distorted, and the laughter sounded more like screams. I brushed it off as my imagination running wild and headed for the funhouse. Inside, the usual maze of mirrors awaited. I navigated the twisting corridors, watching my reflection morph and stretch into grotesque shapes. As I rounded a corner, I saw a clown, its makeup smeared and eyes too wide, staring back at me from the glass. My heart raced. I knew it was just a reflection, yet it felt unsettlingly real. I quickened my pace, eager to find the exit. The mirrors seemed to close in, their surfaces fogging up with each breath I took. My reflection looked back at me with a twisted grin that I wasn't making. Panic set in as I stumbled into a room full of antique, cracked mirrors. I glanced over my shoulder. The clown was no longer a mere reflection. It was behind me, its movements mimicking mine, but with a sinister delay. I bolted out of the funhouse, gasping for air. The carnival was eerily empty now, the once joyful sounds replaced by an ominous silence. I headed for the Ferris wheel, hoping for a moment of clarity from above. As the wheel climbed higher, I looked down to see the carnival grounds, shifting and warping. The tents and rides morphed into grotesque shapes, like a twisted version of reality. Suddenly, the Ferris wheel stopped, leaving me stranded at the top. The clown was on the ground below, its gaze fixed on me. Its mouth stretched into an impossibly wide grin as it raised a hand and waved. I realized then that this was no ordinary carnival. I was trapped in a nightmare with no way out. We burst through a door, finding ourselves in a dark, narrow hallway. The whispers were deafening now, like a chorus of the damned. I could feel them pressing in on me, suffocating me. Jack grabbed my arm, pulling me forward. "Keep moving," he urged. We stumbled upon a stairwell and hurried down, our footsteps echoing in the silence. At the bottom, we found ourselves in the underground parking garage. The dim, flickering lights cast eerie shadows on the concrete walls. We paused to catch our breath, but the whispers followed us, relentless and malevolent. "This way," Jack panted, pointing towards a dimly lit exit sign. We made our way towards the exit, the whispers growing fainter with each step. Just as we reached the door, it slammed shut with a deafening bang. We froze, staring at the door in horror. Jack tried to open it, but it was locked. "There's another way out," I said, trying to keep the panic out of my voice. Back through the main hall, we retraced our steps, the whispers once again growing louder. As we passed by the locker rooms, I couldn't help but glance inside. The body was gone. My blood ran cold. We hurried down the hallway back towards the field. The air grew colder as I entered the dimly lit tent. The first room was a haunted forest, complete with twisted trees and fog that seemed to cling to my skin. I walked cautiously, my heart pounding in my chest. Suddenly, a figure leaped out from behind a tree, its face painted white with a sinister grin. I let out a scream, but quickly realized it was just an actor, part of the attraction. I laughed nervously and moved on. The next room was a dark, narrow hallway lined with mirrors. My reflection stared back at me from every angle, distorted and eerie. As I walked, the reflections seemed to move on their own, their eyes following me. My breath quickened, and I hurried to find the exit. But the mirrors seemed to close in on me, the hallway stretching longer and longer. Panic set in, and I broke into a run, finally bursting through a door into the next room. I found myself in a circus-themed area, complete with creepy clown mannequins. Their painted smiles seemed too wide, too lifelike. I shuddered and tried to keep my distance. As I walked, I heard the faint sound of carnival music playing from an old, dusty carousel in the corner. It began to turn slowly, the horses moving up and down with a ghostly grace. My skin crawled as I watched, unable to tear my eyes away. Suddenly, the music stopped, and the carousel ground to a halt. The lights flickered and went out, plunging the room into darkness. I fumbled for my phone, using its flashlight to see. The clown mannequins were gone. My heart pounded in my ears as I scanned the room, desperately looking for an exit. Then I heard it, a soft giggle coming from somewhere behind me. I spun around, my flashlight beam darting through the darkness. There, in the corner, stood a clown. Not a mannequin, but a real person. Its eyes glinted with malice and its smile stretched unnaturally wide. "Welcome to the real show," it whispered, taking a step toward me. I backed away, my mind racing. This wasn't part of the attraction. I turned and ran, stumbling through the darkness. The giggles grew louder, echoing around me. I burst through another door, finding myself in the first room again. The actor who had scared me earlier lay on the ground, motionless, blood pooling around him. My stomach churned, and I realized this nightmare was far from over.